Hello and welcome to the first review of the year, where in today's video it's a Tales from my backlog. That's what the vast majority of the reviews are going to be for this year. And it is this to start it off is going to be Galaxy Quest, a movie that has been on my radar for quite some time as a Star Trek fan. I went into this 100% blind. The most I'd seen of this was some images, and I knew that it was originally supposed to be a Star Trek movie, but they couldn't get the rights, so they made their own thing. And thus, Galaxy Quest was born, and I really enjoyed it, which I knew I was going to. As a Star Trek fan, I knew I was going to really enjoy it. And it was, like I said, it was really, really good. For the hour and 30 minutes that it is roughly, excluding the end credits. I really liked it. So, what is it about? Well, in this universe, Galaxy Quest was a popular 80s sci fi show, um, with it going on for at least 80 plus episodes. We don't know an actual number count, but anyway, we basically pick up 10 years afterwards with the cast of the show, the main crew, doing conventions. And so they all do a convention, and it turns out that the captain, the actor who played the captain, Jason, is a bit of a diva, and always late, and always leaving his fellow crewmates out of a lot of stuff. And there's a whole other bunch of different things that happen behind the scenes. So at this convention, which is GalaxyCon, celebrating the show's history, um, the Jason shows up an hour late. Then of course we have Alan Rickman's character, you know, having an anxiety attack because he's so sick of having to repeat this one line over and over and over again. So they go out, they do the panel, and then they do the signing where Jason has his own table off to the side for the signing, and then everyone else is all on this one big table for people to come and sign. And so when Jason goes to the bathroom, he overhears how uh, that he's not as liked as he thinks he is, and that even his other crewmates, his other castmates, really don't like him. Now, this is actually based off of an actual event that happened to William Shatner. When he went to the bathroom, he overheard some fans talking about how the other original series cast really did not like him as such, which is now like kind of like really well known that William Shatner can be a giant dick and was a massive dick whilst on the set of Star Trek. Constantly fighting with writers and directors over who is the main character. Because a lot of people would say that Spock was the main character and stuff, and so he's always fighting for screen time and all this, and more screen time and all that stuff. So all that stuff is like really well known. That's why even now, I think they're completely fine. Um, but it is well known that George Takei really does not like Shatner. Um, to a certain extent, and even for a good while, uh, Leonard Nimoy and Shatner weren't on the best of terms. They patched things up later on in life before Leonard Nimoy passed away, but like from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, to a certain point, there was a bit of bad blood between them. So that kind of brings a dampener on to Captain Taggart, is the character he played. So he goes home, he gets drunk, he's watching reruns of the show, and then he passes out, and then these weird people that showed up at the convention asking for his help shows up at his house. They bring him. Turns out that aliens do exist, and it turns out that whilst the show was airing, it got sent to, like, through the airwave transmissions, was sent to this alien planet of squid things that can put on like a disguise to look humanoid, and they see it as the truth that all this stuff actually happened. That these actors are the characters, and so they have to recruit them essentially to help them with these negotiations. And it reminds me so much of a similar thing that happened after this came out in Futurama. I know they done an episode about this with the Omicron Persei 8 being obsessed with this show from the early 2000s, and then they finally came because of the way you know light and all of that stuff works and stuff. So anyway, yes, we managed to get the other actors on board once they realize that they can't really go back. It turns out that this alien species recreated everything from the show, from obsessively viewing it and making sure that everything is correct to a T. And so they go on the mission to save it. They visit an alien planet in order to get their I forget what it's called. What is the big sphere thing? Basically, their warp core essentially, and eventually they save the day. They stop the alien foe, and they make it back. And then it ends with a new series in Galaxy Quest being made, which emanates Star Trek in a sense of the movies and Next Generation. After the big Star Trek boom and during the 70s with syndication, obviously we got the movies. It was originally going to be a TV series, but once Star Wars happened in '77, Paramount was like, let's do Star Trek as movies, and then in the late '80s is when we got the Star Trek TV series revivals. So, like I said, I really love this movie. Tim Allen, I'm not sure if he was just playing it, Captain Taggart, a certain way, but it definitely, looking at it as if it was a Shatner impression, but not really a Shatner impression. Tim Allen nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. As well as Alan Rickman was absolutely amazing. I really do. I love Alan Rickman as a actor, as well as Sigourney Weaver. She was really good. Apparently, Tim Allen was really looking forward to working with her during this movie, to the point where, because he was a big Alien fan, that to the point where he had a bunch of memorabilia that he got her to sign in between takes. As I said, this was originally going to be a Star Trek movie of sorts, but there is a line that Sigourney's character mentions of how this magazine done several paragraphs of how she got her tits into the costume. That emanates something that actually happened to Jerry Ryan of Star Trek Voyager for 7 of 9. Apparently that happened to her. And as I said, the whole thing about William Shatner finding out that a lot of his former castmates really don't like him happened during a convention. So I'm really happy that I finally got around to tackling um, Galaxy Quest. I really really enjoyed it. Um, it's it's up there. I mean, like it even got to the point where I'm pretty sure a lot of Star Trek fans would count this as a Star Trek movie because of all the similarities. And the ship that we do see, um, which I'm drawing a blank on its name. I wonder if I can figure it on the back of this. Yeah, the NSEA Protector. Um, was a decently designed ship. Not the best designed ships that I've seen, compared to some of the great ships that are in Star Trek and some of the good ones from Star Wars. It's an alright looking ship. But yeah, I'm very happy to have watched it, and yeah, I'm glad that it's now out of my backlog. So that is going to wrap up this video. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you all on Friday for the next review, which I forget what that is.